What's going on, guys? Randy here with Academia Christi on this evening of June the 28th. This is the Viri Christi Garden Vlog, episode 16 this time. A lot more different things, interesting new stuff, sort of new stuff to show this time. Uh, these vlogs have been getting a little lengthy, so I'm going to try to cut them down just a bit. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. If I get 50 subscribers and or followers on Rumble, then I will post my cayenne eating video. And as we get even more followers, like maybe we hit 100 or 200, things like that, we'll spice it up even more with the other hot peppers that I'm growing that haven't been grown just yet, but are growing currently. Out here in the American Northeast in Western Pennsylvania, apparently with some bad smoky air, dealing with the Canadian wildfires here, I guess. It's gotten hazy again as well. We had about a week or so of it clear, even though the weather wasn't that great. But honestly, today's been a decent day, so that's pretty good. We've had a lot of rain, a lot of hot days, mostly rain though, and just kind of weather that was not workable. So, as always, setting us back a little bit, but slowly getting things under control here as I deal with all the plants that are inside, trying to get them into the ground. But that is for the future. For now, this is the Viri Christi Garden Blog, episode 16. I hope you enjoy. All right, out here to the wild blackberries. You can see the new first year shoots. I mean, they're almost as big as some of these older ones here now, although those two older ones are massive. Looking a little better, I guess. I suppose. I mean, they are still kind of bare at the top here. I guess that's not really gonna repair itself, but over here we have, over right there, right here, we have some actual blackberries. Not a ton, but a little bit for now. They shouldn't take much longer before they ripen. Within the month, I'd say, we'll have a couple blackberries. And lavender is blooming nicely. Didn't really cut it back much to take advantage of any of the leaves. I don't know how long you can do that for, if you can do it after flowers or whatnot, but it does look gorgeous, that's for sure. Things are slowly expanding, slowly getting in the ground here. But I'm trying to focus more on the market garden patches, of course. Getting that stuff in the ground, much more important than any other things I want to do. These marigolds are going to be strewn about all over the place. They're just chilling here for now. Have our mustard is going nuts. It's bigger now than the rhubarb. You see that? It's flowering. Both types have now bolted. I think I can still cut it back. I don't know. It looks wonderful. I really did it more for the seeds though, so really more concerned just about that. Maybe we'll try to actually do the mustard greens next season, but whatever. The rhubarb really needs to be cut back at this point. It's reaching the end of its cycle here, so definitely need to cut it back before it goes bad or whatever. We here got our onions and carrots doing just fine. Want to get garlic in on the near side here. And just next to them, finally got some zucchini, two of them finally in the ground here. Can actually put the other one into somewhere if I want to, probably, maybe over this direction. I'd like to get maybe the canary melons in the front there. Put cantaloupe or honeydew right back here somewhere. But I also want to plant some beans and peas before it's too late right back here as well. Need to start getting that going as well, but again, market garden patch is more important. Look at how lovely this lettuce has come up. I mean, my goodness. You got huge patches of it like this. I think it's just going to do it the whole survival of the fittest thing, not in the goofy, irrational evolutionist way, but just the natural way that one of these things is going to get more nutrients than the others around it, and eventually the ones around it will die off. But they're looking great. Bib in the back, Paris Island Cost, prize head in the front, coming up really nicely. Did transplant this tomato, this old Marglobe of ours here. You see, I actually still have a trowel sitting there. It's looking okay. Maybe at some point it will actually need something to help it stay up. Let's hope. Got here, but you can see some basils coming up very nicely. This is the left side of, well, if we're looking at the spearmint, which I also believe is coming up here, some of this has to be spearmint, surely. None of it smells yet, but some of it has to be spearmint. But then here, which is the front, but facing the spearmint, it's the right side patch. The basil here. I think we got a couple coming up, but that's it. But at least it's something. If we get something going, that'd be all right. I do have all of my Generation 2 Nature's Edge cayennes out here now. They're going to be all going in this line because, as you can see, other than, well, this of course also worked. This is the only cayenne we have still here. None of the cayenne got eaten though. All the jalapenos are still here, except the very first one that was planted with the one that was here on the end, but it didn't get eaten. It just kind of wilted away, I guess. All the other jalapenos I put in more recently have survived. They're looking quite nice. Yeah, looking amazing. This one maybe the best there, I would say. But they're all doing their thing. The cayenne also looking nice. And these cayenne, I really wish I would have got them in the ground. It's too busy doing some of the harder stuff today. Wish I would have done it later though. Too late now, maybe tomorrow. But those are all the Gen 2 cayennes from Nature's Edge. Just so happens that it fills up nicely this line, and also have 3 jalapenos from the Nature's Edge Gen 2 here, so that'll actually fill up the jalapeno line as well. So yeah, that's the plan. And like I said, hopefully where all this grass is dying off and stuff, hopefully we'll get some. We'll have some melons probably back there. Actually, yeah, scratch that. It's just going to be peas first and then beans, because I think the peas need to be planted sooner rather than later, as the beans can go a little longer, I guess. The other melons, I'm going to actually do cantaloupe on the end of the melon patch somewhere, wherever the melons are going. Cantaloupe on the end, all the watermelon in the middle, and then the honeydew on the other side, and that should keep the honeydew and the cantaloupe away from each other sufficiently, I hope. Back here, you can see now finally starting some of the other market garden patches. This is the cucumber patch. I'm hoping that up to uh, the stakes there and that rope, it's helping me get the pieces that needed edged. Broke the older edger, have a new edger here. I'm not too sure how long it's going to last. Seems much chintzier than the other one. And I'm also going through things like this, but when I find them, I'm going to start just taking the clippers to them. But yeah, this is for the cucumbers. I'm going to just keep flipping and get some seeds planted maybe in the front here or on one line, and then put all the cucumbers we have, which are pretty much ready to go, I think, in the other line. At least getting some of that in. This is half of the patch up to those stakes, already just needing flipped at this point, kind of edged out, just need chunked out at this point, like I'm doing now with that one. And that's where I'm basically at with that. And it's getting dark. The zombies will probably come out soon. Sun went down. We're standing basically, well, there's the front corner, right front corner of our future tomato patch. There's the other side, and here is half of this one edged out, just needing chunked up. All I've actually chunked up was like that edge, that corner, I mean. But yeah, eventually this one will be next. Those are the two things I've been working on. Most importantly, I'm really hoping to have them done and planted in by the end of this week. And here, half of the pepper patch, which extends that direction to quite a bit, can go even a little further if I wanted it to. We have half of it done. Something is actually done. As you can see, it's a decent size. I think I did an okay job. Have our jalapenos over here. That's Rebel Gardens. These are the 316. And I'll show you something else. These are the 9th coming up here. This is Rebel Gardens now starting off. Cutwormed. I stuck the thing right back in next to the stem that was left. Here's the stem that was left. I think it was a cutworm. There's one there. Another jalapeno. This is Nature's Edge here. I'm not sure what these little footprints are. Maybe you can tell me what that footprint is. Chipmunk, probably not. Bunny, perhaps. No harm done, however. This was another cutworm, though. This was earlier on, well before those tracks were made. This one has much more of a chance, I think. It has some actual leaf nodes still. And I don't know, maybe these will still take root too, the ones that got cut off, top parts. And finally, the 4 from the second, that is Rebel Gardens. It's actually looking decent. These were planted one day before the rest. Mostly the cayenne were planted all on the same day as the jalapenos. Actually, the habaneros were a day later. That one's sustainable sprout. Here's a serena seed. And finally, the Nature's Edge. That's the order of all of them. It's the order I went in the planting, in the seed planting process. So here, the cayennes, the first ones we actually lost. This is Nature's Edge. I can't remember which one we lost. I think it was Sustainable Sprout. This is Serena seed here, Rebel Gardens. So yeah, didn't plant the cayenne from the second that we lost, which I believe was the Sustainable Sprout. I have a huge flower right there. I really need to get out here and pluck these. I don't think you're prepared for something like this. And so I do need to do this on all of them. Really let that one go quite a bit, but hey, what are you gonna do? Sorry, buddy, I always hate that part. They're looking fantastic though. These that was the first from the 9th Nature's Edge. These 9th cayenne are amazing. I'm gonna have to come out here and do the other ones when it's not so dark and I'm not recording. Sustainable Sprout, probably the nicest cayenne we have currently. That branching, beautiful. But even the Rebel Gardens, you know, they're not bad. I sometimes make it, maybe it seems like the seeds aren't that great, but they're not bad at all. Maybe just not quite as good in my few attempts, but not always the worst. Sometimes I think it has, if you look in the last video, had a win in one of the times. Now it's a nice looking flower right there compared to the other ones. Rebel Garden, of course, Nature's Edge here from the 16th. Sustainable Sprout. And a little Serenity here, not very big. And unfortunately, after just saying what I did, here's, it's getting really dark, sorry. Rebel Gardens, 16th Cayenne. Having some trouble. We'll go back to the end here, this end, where we have Nature's Edge Habanero. Not terrible. I mean, they look smaller, but I hope they will really take off now being in the ground. Sustainable Sprout. Serenity from the 2nd. We don't have Rebel Gardens from the 2nd because it also had a problem like the Sustainable Sprout. Cayenne from the 9th. Nature's Edge there. They all look really similar at this point. They actually, I think, looked a little more definite last week, but not so much anymore. That's what the Sustainable Sprout from the 9th. Serenity from the 9th. Not bad though. Not bad. I mean, they exist. They're really small. I will say that. The Rebel Gardens from the 9th. Here though, the 16th. This one's not as bad. It's probably our biggest habanero. That's the Nature's Edge from the 16th. Here the Sustainable Sprout. There's the Serenity, and of course, last but not least, that Rebel Garden's not looking amazing either. But hey, you never know what will happen. It can always come back. Oh yeah, and of course, have a patch here of tomato seeds, and you can see there are actually tomatoes coming up, so that's cool. We'll see, these are early girl tomatoes. I actually thought this was the pepper side, but clearly it's not. Oh yeah, and speaking of, we do have our 3 California Wonders still hanging in there here. You know, they're doing at least, I guess. Whatever. And we do also have some peppers coming up here. Wait a little long to do this, but we have a little bit of light left for this part, just to show you that we do have a couple pepper seeds coming up. Actually, it looks like most of them are, and I think those were actually from a store-bought pepper, just some California Wonders or some sweet pepper, so it's pretty cool. Oh yeah, and finally we brought our raspberries over here. The one that's looking decent, first year growth. The second year one that looks not great at all, but it's still also hanging in there. And in the pot we actually have a another first year sprout there, I think, or maybe also has some little growth there at the thing. Also, they're all now sitting on the wild strawberry patch that I'm propagating. Look at how amazing it looks. Look at how wonderful these wild strawberries are taking over. Also a little batch right there. So yeah, they're doing their thing. If it wasn't so dark, you could see, maybe you can still see the mass of runners all over. But yeah, so things are kind of coming together back here in the true garden area, the true market garden area. Not that this isn't, that's the family garden. It's going to be lovely in its own right, in its own time. But the market garden, looking awesome. Yes, I'd also like to do something right here along the fence. Maybe some sunflowers and something else going up to the end. Maybe sunflowers and melons running along the fence line up to this post here, which is our clothesline. I think it looked pretty cool. Everything surrounding this silver maple here, and our golf practice net, leaving just enough for a nice Nice piece of propagated grass for swinging off of. Yeah. So basically night now, just enough light maybe to do this. Here our older apple tree. I'm just gonna maybe get a look at a couple of these if I can find any. Oh, there's one. Decent size. They're coming up. Again, never ate any apples from this tree, apparently. Nobody has. So it'd be great to be able to do that. They're not all going to be perfect, of course, but they are here, which is something. And there's a bunch of them too. You won't be able to see them all, of course, but trust me, they're there. And I will certainly be showing you whatever harvests we get from the fruits and from everything. I'm also wondering if the smokiness from Canada might have a little bit to do with the camera, along with the dark, not being able to pick all this up very nicely. Look at these amazing, look at how these grapes are growing beautifully. Don't know what that's about, but I mean they're looking huge, looking quite wonderful. The marigolds both looking okay, even though this one's sideways. It's actually flowered again. It's doing its thing. It's fine, just fine. Look at that massive leaf. You can use these as, I think, what do they call them? Like the little rags you put over cans when you're canning stuff or making sauces or things. You put the butter, the cheese rag or whatever they call it. Cheese. Yeah, I think that you can use these for the same thing. Big grape leaves, looking beautiful. Here, the second grape, the Concord, seedless Concords. Might get a couple more of these next year. Might just let these do their thing and grow more and more and more. That's probably the better way to go. Or like regular Concord as well. I'd like other types. I'd like to get a decent variety of grapes and apples. Two nice marigolds still again. So with all the rain we've been getting, that must have helped them out quite a bit. Should come out here and give a little bit of fertilizer to these guys maybe at some point. I don't think they've ever had any. Could probably use a little bit, even though they look fantastic. They're in the ground. They should be in a really nutrient-rich area. It's never been really used for anything. Just kind of out here in the field, growing, doing its thing. Lots of weeds, not much grass, not much lawn care stuff used. Beautiful. Again, another beautiful grapevine growing here, I think. I don't think we'll need anything to hold it up this first year, but next year hopefully it'll be big enough that we do. Here, the Honeycrisp apple of our two apple trees, the new ones I should say. This one didn't do anything fruiting wise, had quite a bit of flowers. They didn't take though, unfortunately. Maybe they come up again in the twice this season. I think it's just once though for apples. I think they'll just I don't know, bear fruit once, I suppose. Guess we'll find out. Again, the marigolds coming back nicely. A lot of nice little flowers there on both of them. Same exact color. It's always cool whenever they come up with the same colors, especially when there's different options for them to choose, when it's like a red, orange, yellow deal. Yeah, the tree looks fine. Again, structurally we're gonna have to deal with this probably by cutting this guy off right here, this branch. We'll deal with that maybe the end of the year, maybe the beginning of next year would maybe be the better time. But yeah, it'll be all right. No fruit this time, but that's all right. And lastly, out here, the Ruby Macintosh got some grass shot into it. Its marigolds looking lovely, looking really nice. I love the look. The colors are beautiful, the benefits are amazing, and oh my gracious, I guess it's not weighing the branch down yet, but it almost looked like it was when I first walked out here. Gorgeous little apples growing already. They almost look like what are those nuts? that look like that, kind of. Can't think of them right now, but that's what they look like. Amazing little fruits already. They're just about as big as the ones on the other tree, the big tree. I'm digging that, really digging that. Only a few. I mean, it's not loaded, of course, but that's okay. We don't really want it to be loaded with apples, really, do we? Because probably better that it's not focusing on, these few little fruits. But it will be enough just to, enjoy a few of them from just to see what they taste like this first year. And then maybe we'll know if we want another one. I probably won't. I'd rather go with like more generic types than these, whatever you want to call trademarked things. I don't know if you'd necessarily call it a hybrid, but I'm looking for more just the regular ones like the Honeycrisp. But this is that Ruby Mac. I don't know if it's Burpee or who made the Ruby Mac, but it's trademarked by somebody. It looks awesome though. I'm sure the apples are great. These are all, I believe, hardened off at this point, but I figured I'd put them in here. I don't know. I was fertilizing them all with the Miracle Grow, that blue powder stuff. These are, of course, the melons, cucumbers, and things. Here we have in the front there 3 cantaloupe, 1 zucchini, the other 2 in the garden. That one's definitely ready to go in. In fact, I'm trying to get all these melons in the garden soon because basically all of them I think are ready to be transplanted. Maybe not quite the watermelon yet, but by the time I get everything else in, they'll probably be ready as well. Here we have basically just in the middle these 2 tender green burpless cucumbers, and on the sides of them Boston pickling cucumbers. That's really all that's coming up in that one. Here though we have 4 tender green burpless in the front there. These are all cucumbers here. The Boston pickling there as well, that's all 5. Have 3 of the Market More coming up there. They're looking a little yellow, but again, just fertilized them. They should be okay. Should be just fine. And in the back there, Space Masters. I think there's 4 of those. Yeah. Oh no, all 5 of those as well. That's good. So I will also be planting a bunch more cucumber seeds very soon. Maybe in a couple days. Hopefully in a couple days, as soon as I transplant all these as well, all the cucumbers. The melons might be a little longer because I'm more concerned about the cucumbers going in the ground first. Mostly just these that you see there, just those 4 on the left and all the ones in the other container. Get those in, plant a bunch of seeds, especially the Bayet Alpha and the Straight 8s, because I don't have any of those to transplant. Here, finally, we have just 1 more cantaloupe there. It's looking pretty decent in my opinion. The two on the left and 2 on the right of it there are honeydew. Looking good. All of them look good in my opinion. In the back here we have our 5 canary melons. I think those are going to go in the front of the main garden. You can't really see it, but out there, right past the bush there. I think I'm going to put a line of them. The other zucchini are right on this right side. So we'll have the canary melons, the zucchini, and then I think behind there, I think I was going to put melons, I think it's just going to be the beans. Yeah, and then we have all our watermelons. And on the right side are the sugar babies, on the left are the crimson sweet. 6 of the sugar babies, 7 of the crimson sweet. A couple of them still very tiny, but I think they'll be all right. Most of them are pretty large. At least 1 nice big leaf, another one coming up on all of them, at least. Other than, again, yeah, those 2 and that 1 there. But they'll be all right, I think. And if I didn't burn them by in the process of hardening all the other things off. Look how nice dark green those watermelons look though, especially compared to the other ones. And we also have out here completely hardened off, hoping to get them in the ground maybe tomorrow, probably tomorrow. It's getting super late. Our celery that is much better than our first celery attempt. Now it's just chilling outside. So looking good. Have a nice row of that coming up then in the garden there. That'll be on the between the mustard rings and rhubarb and the where the onions are. So on the opposite side of the onions from where the carrots are, have a decent bit of space. I'd like to also get the garlic bulbs in there too though, and then those celery. Garlic next to the onions, celery on the outside. Here the lettuce, which some of it's looking a little ragged, but it's also looking chunkier for sure. Pretty chunky. I could come in here and just clean it up a little bit, but I might wait until I transplant them. This prize head, the color is normal for the prize head. It actually makes it easy, I think, to then tell the differences, especially when I have them in here like this and I forget what I did. But they don't look amazing in here because some of them had some problems. This one looks okay, but you can see something's still eating these things. It doesn't really matter where I put them. I've checked in the containers. There's nothing else there's nothing in there that's eating them, you know, that's coming out later at night or anything. So I don't know what's happening. But this is definitely Paris Island here, which usually I think comes up the best in a little bit of experience I have. But this, I think I did 2 rows of bib, and this is a bib then, and it looks really, really good. It's probably one of the better bibs. A couple decent ones though, and of course the ones in the hydroponics are amazing. Let's spin ourselves over to the wall here. Got the one strawberry that was off on its own, quarantined, if you will. Looking nice now. It's actually got a little flower there. I could probably cut off those couple more, one more leaf, maybe the other one. There was some small ones in here, leaves that weren't doing great. In fact, maybe those could be taken out. But yeah, it's okay. It's coming back. Got our parsley all hanging out here, mostly doing okay. Some of them doing quite nice. Some of them still struggling a bit. Might not quite make it. Maybe those ones I'll try to throw them in the ground. I don't know. Get them out of the pots. I was considering throwing this pepper from my grandmother's that I was like, I'll see if I can bring it back to life. I was gonna throw it out, but I was like, it almost seems like there's some little leaf nodes there that started coming up. So if there's enough, I guess if there's enough root system, then it'll be okay. These petunias, the last 2 petunias, are almost completely dead, unfortunately. This one's not as bad, I suppose, but I think those will be going somewhere else soon. I have one sun patient there, 2 more over here. Those could, I don't know. I really like this moss phlox. Don't want it to go to waste, especially in all the wormwood. I'll use it in we had plans for this in the front for chipmunk deterrence, but maybe not the moss phlox so much. That was more for runner, something to run. The wormwood though was for the chipmunks. Definitely don't want that to go to waste. I'll put it in the garden corners or some sides or something if I need to. Some other decorative things here that we're going to go in the front. Oh yeah, of course, all our dry herbs over here are sage. It looks bad from, I'm assuming, root rot, so that one's probably done. But the other ones are okay. This one here and the even better one, looking decent, still growing. I guess I should probably get them out of these cups, everything, as much as I can. Even this lavender here is actually looking pretty good. That one's all right. This marjoram here, yeah, I think it failed. Yeah, it's in the cup now and not looking hot. But we have this one. This is actually the only other marjoram we have other than the 2 that are going well in the bigger pots now. So I have to try to save this one. Probably gonna cut it back and let it bush out where it is there. That'll probably help. But yeah. Peanuts. Just, I don't know how long ago that happened. Some chipmunk holes dug, being pains always, all the time now. Not always all the time, but basically all the time. Oh, wait. No. I got excited, but no. I don't. These must be the tendril things that go into the ground. That's the only thing I can imagine those things are. It's possible they're gonna actually do it. I don't know. Hoping. Again, we have a trench here from all the rain we've been getting splattered up on the side there. It's getting annoying constantly fixing it. I pulled it away so it stopped out because I think it's happening right here. So it was the pots are holding these up against the wall, so that's why they're so close. I pulled that one away just so that would stop happening. More stuff that hopefully won't get wasted. All this nice lemongrass, some of it definitely dying back now, unfortunately. Got to do something with that. Coneflower, definitely don't want those to go to waste. Geraniums here, these are perennials, and that's why they're still, we didn't want to use them for the things we used other plants for, so that's why they're still. And of course the even more lavender, which I definitely don't want to go to waste. If anything, I'll pot some of this up and put some of it around the garden. Smells fantastic. You can see the flowers already coming up. Looks amazing. I love lavender. I should do something about all these mushrooms, I think. Probably. Just have been... Yeah, alright. So yeah, our parsley still hanging in there. Keep forgetting to plant basil, so instead we have mushrooms growing where the old basil transplant was, because of the soil, I guess. There, got really nice cilantro coming up and some weeds, but that's okay. Beautiful cilantro seedlings. The dill is I don't know, not doing a whole lot. Maybe it sprouted before the cilantro. It's going a little slower than the cilantro now, I suppose, but you know, maybe that's just a thing that happens. Or lettuce. Is that the prize head? Might be. All three though coming up. Whatever that is, I don't know. Some random piece of plastic. But yeah, they look good. Something happened in there, don't know what that is. This is definitely whatever I planted in the middle. I said it at one point. It was probably the first time I mentioned what it was, is what it is. Can't remember now. Chard, maybe? Don't know. I don't think that's something. I think whatever I planted on the left didn't come up. I don't think what I planted on the right came up either. I think it is just the three lettuces in the back and whatever's in the middle. And of course, had a couple flowers come up already on the arugula here. Look pretty cool in my opinion. I mean, those are pretty cool looking flowers. Hate the taste of arugula myself. Been mostly keeping up on the flowering, keeping ahead of it, but I mean, look at this thing. It is just, I am out here almost every day plucking flowers. I guess I haven't done it in a day, maybe two, because I've been working out trying to get the big garden patches done. So it definitely needs deflowered a little bit here. Try to keep it bolting, or try to keep it from bolting, so it continues to leaf up. But you can see this was they started out in the garage back in March or something, maybe. Don't have, oh look, so it is the chard in the middle. I am so smart putting a label on this. We're getting there. I'm not really that worried about the arugula. Now I'm getting more lettuce. That's good. These parsley, that first one not doing amazing, but it's still there. This one's picking itself back up. I'm liking the looks of that. And some hope for it, perhaps. And finally here, the pot of 4 herbs. Got a very long dill, doing its dill things. It's the one that's been attacked by aphids. I think where the aphids began, perhaps. That was an aphid there. Of course, you know, we're always finding more. Got our parsley back here. It also is picking back up. I don't know what's up with this. These are not the only ones doing that. And this just started happening. I don't know why. It just, I haven't seen this particular problem on my parsley until just now. Today, in fact, on the one that we saw in the cup. It was kind of fizzling up. I thought maybe it's because I moved it, but apparently not. Because this one's been in the same spot. These are older leaves, but yeah, luckily it's sprouting a little more often. And of course our two lovely basil, my favorite herb, I think, to grow so far. Maybe because it's easy and looks cool and smells amazing. So does marjoram. They all smell really, really good. What am I saying? Bushing up real nice. We did top it in the last video. So coming along, it's coming along. It's going to be a little stocky. I mean, it's going to be a little leggy, but I think it's going to kind of balance itself out eventually too. You can see it almost starting to do that already. Even way down at the bottom has some. Again, these are my hydroponic transplants. What those things are. Again, top this basil as well. This is the Genovese here. The other one was the Italian large leaf. Both of them looking basically the same, in my opinion. But that is to say, much better than they were in the past, I think. Right? And then now we have all our tomatoes transplanted out here from the hydroponics. So this was the early girl, the last one to come out. I have now these 5-gallon grow bags. They say they're 5-gallon. Of course, it's not a true 5-gallon. It's the 5-gallon nursery bag, which is actually a different measurement. So I suppose it's about half of the size of my the other grow bags I have that are bigger with the green that I have the peppers in with the green edge. I guess it's about half the size of that. But yeah, the early girl seems to have taken nicely here. Has no support because it doesn't need it right now. It might never need it because it is a bush variety, I hear. And now feast your eyes upon these beasts, all of them, especially in this line that was done first here. This, I think, the black crim. I think the bodacious is the one on the left here. So yeah, the black crim first here. I mean, just looking fantastic. Nothing else needs to be said. I think they're all flowering. I guess I should probably maybe stop them from doing that, even though they look fantastic, and maybe I don't need to. I mean, just look at it. Oh man, these of course my first tomatoes, so you know, I'm not used to doing them. Of course, I'm not used to doing anything. This is all basically very new to me. Try to get that cloth off of the plant as much as possible. Probably take that leaf off. I did some cleanup. May or may not have posted a video of that. This the bodacious beefsteak. Probably also flowering if I'm not really seeing any flowers, but they're probably there somewhere. Not quite as big, I don't think, as the black crim. If we were gonna see which one's the biggest so far of all these tomatoes, that doesn't of course mean anything. Varieties play a big part in that too. But I would say, yeah, bodacious beefsteak being a hybrid, I do think this black crim is bigger. And I think the black crim also bigger than the Brandywine red here, which looks awesome. This is why I like it so much too, is because not only does it remind me of Lord of the Rings, being Brandywine, but has these awesome leaves that don't look like all the other tomatoes have the same looking leaves. This one's different. So very easy to tell which one it is. Like all the other ones, looking amazing. Has some goofy looking leaves, but you know, I've seen some guys that go, a lot of guys talk about going nuts with it. I've seen guys though that don't do anything, like no upkeep whatsoever on their tomatoes, and they have just amazing harvests as long as you have decent soil. I think that's what it comes down to with their stuff. But yeah, Brandywine red looking great. Maybe no flowers yet on that fella. Doesn't look like they have it has flowers, but that's all right. Don't really need any flowers on anything right now, any of these. This one, the Roma, I wouldn't doubt, yeah, if it had flowers. It does indeed have some flowers on there. And it's looking like it grows a lot like a pepper. They do come both from the nightshade family. Grows a little bit like a pepper in the sense that has the main stalk, has the branching off, um, has a lot more suckers. Of course, peppers don't, or maybe just my peppers don't tend to have as many suckers as tomatoes do. And of course, there seems to be like a little bit of a branching at some point, and you have the possible flower nodes in between there. But we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong about it. Actually, yeah, that's like on the side. Now that I see it closer. Anyway, yeah, aroma looking remarkable. But is it bigger than the black crim? Perhaps. Yeah, I think it might be bigger than that black crim on the end there. Just a bit. And yeah, again, I did trim these, I cut down the bottoms, and yeah, I took a couple of the leaves off the bottom, the sun leaves, took the suckers off off like the first half. Of course, this was a few days ago, and they're already growing so much more. Here, the large red cherry. Definitely, actually, I think it is the largest. Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely beats out the Roma. You could almost use a second support. This leaf, unfortunately, being quite bent. Hopefully not. Probably because of it's being pushed against the stake. That's unfortunate. Definitely tons of flowers on this guy. It just looks great. It just looked great. But I did hear, it does seem that the cherries, while their tomatoes are smaller, the plants actually can get bigger, which is great in my opinion, because that means more, because they also fruit more vigorously when they have the smaller fruits. So you get a bigger plant and you're getting more fruit. So it's a nice 1-2 punch there. And here on the end is the some kind of other tomato that we have that looks strange. I don't know. I wonder what's up with the leaf curling here. Could it be? I don't know if this one gets the most sun, maybe, but I can't imagine that any of them get too much sun. They only get like half a day, if that. So I don't know exactly what is up with this. Hopefully it doesn't continue. This is, I know it. I know what it is. It is Cherokee purple. That's it. This is the Cherokee purple. Almost as big as, I think that the cherry may have taken over. I think it was bigger, but now the cherry's bigger. Just by a little bit. And it probably has maybe something to do with the leaf curling. I don't know. It still looks good other than that. Oh yeah, by the way, apparently it's flowered already. So that's cool, I guess. I mean, we could pluck it, of course. Oh, there's another one. Wait, I didn't get it yet. Don't know what, I have no idea what I'm doing here, because I don't do much with tomatoes yet. So yeah, pretty cool. I guess there's only the two. With the bigger, you get the bigger tomatoes. You don't get the bundles of them. You just get like one or two on a thing at a time. It's probably pollinated, I'd imagine. Should maybe pluck it. And here, these three doing just as well. Got our Amish paste. Probably, if it wasn't all smashed in there, we'd probably see some stuff. No, maybe all leaves. But again, all of them looking good in my opinion. All of them growing quite well. We got a lot of room still to work with, of course, too. Very, very long things. Which I put in all upside down, apparently. This is our super sauce hybrid, which I guess is like a Roma or a paste, like the Amish paste. also looking good. If we're comparing the two hybrids, this and the bodacious beefsteak that we have, this would probably be the better of the two. I think those are some flowers in there, maybe. Cool. Camera keeps going out of focus. And finally, our normal regular beefsteak, not the bodacious, actually maybe looking better than the bodacious, even though it came out of the hydroponics later, much later. Looking really nice. It's also kind of in a smaller pot, a bit smaller, but I'm liking the look of it. I think we're gonna have a really good we already do have a really good variety of tomatoes here. Mostly, again, I did the hydroponic ones just to see what they would look like properly, because I thought this would be the best way for me at this moment to grow things properly. That's been so far the case, although now with our seed starting units and things warming up, I think I'm getting better at just growing from seed normally as well without the hydroponics. Yeah, pretty good with the tomatoes. 5 gallons, that should be just enough for a tomato, especially a smaller one like the early grow here. I somehow got a slug in my flip-flop coming over here. Gross. But I have good news. Both of the side runners are finally stuck in this tomato, tomato, in this strawberry container. They're all looking amazing. Got the two that had the runners here. Interestingly, doesn't have a lot of big leaves, but that's okay. It's all right. We really need to get these transplanted into the strawberry patch, the upcoming strawberry patch, which will be over in that direction in front, and well, as where we're standing in front of the grape area there and behind that red tree. Yeah, I think that's going to be the last after the peppers, tomatoes, and cucumbers. So maybe next week we might start working on that. Here we got, don't mind the seed starting stuff. We'll look at that later. Got all the other strawberries, a little more cleaned up, a little more randomly organized though. It's a oxymoron, but yeah, not organized at all, I should say. But that's all right. They still have their tags, so we'll know which are which when we go to actually move them. But right now they got a little more space. They're out of the thing, kind of, free floating, but they're a little bit further away from each other. I think it's going to be good for just getting some air through there. I cleaned them up, trimmed them up, all the dead stuff. Looking pretty good. I also took off all the flowers. Basically no runners growing, so didn't have to worry about that other than this one here, which I might use. I don't know. I might cut it, probably cut it. Just letting them doing what they say to do and just letting them bush up, leaf out a little bit more, especially since we're still waiting to transplant in the first place. It should be okay because we're really not looking for a harvest anyway, even from the June bearing, but the ever bearing are gonna have another harvest. Maybe we'll even get something out of that once they're in the ground. Here's our wild strawberries that are in this pot. I'm probably just going to put them back with all the other ones, at least this one. I think this might be a mock strawberry, but I thought I got all of these together. But you know what? Now that I think about it, I guess maybe I did get 2 different runners. So I must have got, interestingly enough, without knowing at all, a wild strawberry and a mock strawberry, which tastes a lot worse. I mean, it tastes okay. It just has not really any taste at all. Barely a strawberry taste. That mock strawberry has a yellow flower rather than a white. Look at this amazing sweet basil. Red basil, obviously. Or purple, they might be the same. We, of course, trimmed it up. I think we trimmed it up even further. I think it's been done twice now. Excuse me. I think I came back through a second time and got all the ones I didn't get the first time. So it's now really bushing up. We're going to get a lot of basil out of this. Should already be getting some. If I trimmed it up a bit, we probably have a nice little bit there. On to this mess. Yeah, the potatoes have been ravaged by, I believe, the chipmunks. It's the only thing I can think. I thought if it was something like a raccoon, maybe even a skunk. Maybe if it was a skunk, I haven't seen any of those, but if it was a raccoon that we saw earlier in the year, I think he would have done much more damage. Obviously, there was actually damage done to it. I've just been pushing the dirt back into where all the holes are dug, but you can see your roots just laying there. I'm like, I don't even know at this point. Probably not going to get any good potatoes out of it, but I figured I'd leave the stalks in here just to die off anyway. But what that does is open up this pot for us, probably much sooner than it would have been, because now all of them, I don't know if this hastened the dying process or if it just happens that they're now dying off. This one I think is one of the only ones that hasn't been disturbed at all. I think most of them are still kind of attached for the most part. I mean, they have deep root systems, so, and also the potatoes are still in there. That's why I think it wasn't a raccoon, because I believe if it was a raccoon, he would have just eaten all the potatoes. But that wasn't really even disturbed at all. Maybe they were chomped on, but I didn't even see that. I couldn't see any potatoes messed with. I could see a little bit of some of the potatoes, and that's about all. So I'm hoping maybe they'll be okay. But I think perhaps that hastened the dying off process. That will probably make the potatoes no good, I'd imagine. But it will open up this pot for probably peppers. Unfortunately, it's the pot that we put all those tomatoes in. Unfortunately, now we don't need it for those tomatoes. So that's annoying, I guess. But yeah, the chippies have just been smashing this thing. And they've done it multiple times at this point now. I don't know what their problem is. Not nice at all. Again, don't mind the seed starting stuff hanging out. The only two herbs left in our Mediterranean herb pot here, well, the rosemary is under there. It looks horrible, so it's not even worth mentioning. Our lavender here, not bad. Sage here also really looking nice. Much bushier than we've had most sage looking. But what I'm thinking now is repurposing this pot as well. I can easily get in here. These aren't very big. You can still even see quite clearly where the cups were, where the cupped dirt was in both of these. You can easily take out a nice large chunk, you know, even take out half of the whole quarter of the thing for them. Put them in some bigger pots, bigger singular pots, probably clay ones by themselves, and just take, you know, a little bit of care of them. But then I'll have this big pot planter really, but I'll probably end up using it for like a ghost pepper or something, because, you know, I suppose before we get to the peppers, I'll show just a few more of the herbs here, or the rest of the herbs. I got this amazing spearmint that, yeah, again, was also topped for the most part. A lot of these shoots were topped off, not these little ones. You can tell which ones were almost, because they have this like light green, nice, cute little growth on the top there. Look how cool that is. Oh man. I mean, this is just by far one of the best plants I've grown, but I haven't done anything other than have it sit here. It's been so easy. So if you want mint and you don't garden, don't worry. It's probably one of the easiest things to grow. You could probably just throw, so you know somebody who has a piece of mint, chuck it in a planter, a little pot, just let it do its thing. Water it from like a little bit from time to time. You'll be fine. This guy could probably top that off and let it start bushing out, like right here, like that. I think that'd be good, even down here. Yeah, amazing. And there's a lot more. There's a lot of other little nodes down there that have started. I think that might even be one. They're just covered by the other massive growth all over the place. Loving it. Here are smaller now, older but smaller of the rosemaries. This is the actual hydroponic transplant here. I say rosemary, I meant marjoram. I don't know if that leaf folding is normal for marjoram or not, but I think both of mine are doing it. Both of the bigger ones that now have some substantial leaves, but really these, I don't know if you'd call that substantial for marjoram or not. It looks nice. It's green, it's lush, it's bushing out, it's growing nice. certainly surviving, so that's cool. Gonna cut this branch off soon here that's not doing anything. Yeah, it's not bad. Of course, even better, and what's funny about it is this is actually the top of the one we just saw. And this one actually, what's not funny about it, has a ton of aphids on it. Oh my goodness, look at that. Oh my gracious. St. Ignatius. Oh man, it is a smorgasbord on this guy. You know, you think that around here, well, I'm actually right above a woodpile. You'd think there'd be a ton of spiders and stuff that would take care of these things for me. Nah. I do it myself. I tell you. Can't find good help these days. So that's definitely an issue that I'll have to just come back and take care of. At least I took some of them off. A few of them. I did made a small dent perhaps. Maybe just staving them off for a day or so, which is hopefully enough. Gotta just come through here whenever I'm done making all the, I've been doing a lot of the hard stuff and yeah, neglecting and just taking close looks at some of these things. You can see though these leaves clearly do much better, even though they're being sucked on by aphids. Looking great. I think it'll be all right. I don't think I'm going to give it up either. I was going to give this one to my sister, but I don't think she's interested. And I am interested because that's a lot of marjoram right there. That's a lot of marjoram. That's by far the most. I mean, this is 5 times more than I have overall everywhere else. It's come up really nicely. Very, very nicely. Got some more basil here. This guy's actually ready to be topped too. I would maybe just top him right there and let him go. If I had my clippers right now, I would do that. I'll do it if I think about it right after this. But yeah, I'm gonna end up just cutting right there, letting it start up again. And yeah, look at it. Keep these mushrooms all over the place because of all the rain we've had. But yeah, this one finally looking good. I think this fertilizer I used several weeks ago, I think it actually helped out quite a bit. See all that nice growth down there too. And here we have one of our red basil transplants that were rooted in water. Look how amazing that looks. And I'm not surprised because again, we have had this outcome, these results most of the time with the rooting in water whenever I pay enough attention to it that I don't let them go, like the habaneros. Almost itself ready to be topped, honestly. Once these are ready to be plucked, probably hit it right there and let it go. This one might be one of the best looking ones we have. We have 3 more rooting in water. I believe that's what we saw, right? Yeah, maybe we'll even give some of those away. Have a little pot there we stopped using. And finally, for the herbs, before we get to the peppers, we have our other nursery bought basil. This normal sweet basil, just fantastic. This is you see I topped it right there recently. These are the 2 new ones. That is amazing. That is fantastic. I mean, it's almost ready to be done again on a lot of these spots. These are probably the same way right here. Just awesome. Well, there's the cut for that one. Loving it. I'm loving it. Things are really looking much better as we go into the year here, but I should qualify that the things that enjoy a lot of wetness are looking quite lovely. The peppers do too, as we'll see, but I think they'd look better if my conditions aren't exactly suitable for all these peppers, and so having more perfect conditions would be better for me. Our conditions haven't been very perfect, so they're okay for herbs like this, but maybe not as much for the peppers. let's take a look at those. Hard to ever know where to start. We'll just go on the end here first. Have our 2 California Wonders that are potted up, the double pot in the fabric container, and the single pot in this tall black plastic one. They're not going crazy yet. That is, you never know. They could pop off sometime here, but they do look okay. They definitely look all right, considering all they've been through, being grown by me. But I'm getting better, guys. I think I'm getting better at this. I think next year we'll actually have some decent, have a real good early season. This early season, it's been a little bit of a mess, but it's all right. It's all right. I learned a lot in the process. I'm gonna have to stretch a little bit here, so bear with me. Here are banana peppers that are in the same type of deal, singular one and the doubled up one in the fabric pot. Probably see some flower buds up there. Looking quite nice. Again, these are the nursery bought banana peppers, so that's one reason for them looking so nice. Again, over on the fabric container. Nice leafing. Got our flowers coming up that should probably be plucked. I think I did a couple. Trying to stay on time now that we got a lot of peppers coming up, a lot of them looking decent. Yeah, a little harder to keep up on them, like we saw with the peppers in the back now. I do have this last Gen 2 Nature's Edge cayenne here, because it wouldn't quite fit in the garden area with the rest. So I have it here, and I have 2 of those fabric pots left, the 5-gallon ones that you saw the early girl tomato in. Have 2. I will have 2 of them left over after I use up all the ones for what I wanted them for, and so I'm going to put this in one of those. If I'm lucky, I'll get one more of the jalapenos as well from Nature's Edge Gen 2, and I'll put the jalapeno in the other one. Right now I only have 3 of those growing, as we'll see, and so they might all end up in the garden to make an even row with the cayennes. But this one looking amazing. I mean, the leaves are a little goofy, but just fantastic growth. One of the best peppers. This is the best of the Gen 2 cayennes that I had. This is why I'm putting it in the pot and not the others, as I, chose it for its beauty. And yeah, definitely one of the best peppers I've grown so far to this point. It looks even better than these banana peppers, if I do say so myself. It's a different type, of course, so it might not get quite as bushy, although these were quite compact, these banana peppers, whenever I first got them. Yeah, I guess as they grow through the year, they just end up getting like that anyway, whether the weather conditions are perfect or not, like they have not been, I should say. So we should try to hurry up before it gets a little too late here and we can't see anything. But here we have our serrano and left the cayenne, these super old peppers, but look how bushy these things are now. I mean, they're just super bushy. Not much else happening though, hopefully. I mean, we have like the nice double prong happening there. Cayenne's doing the same thing. It's kind of hard to see, but I believe it is. We've had a couple little flowers that I plucked. But I might end up letting the other ones go, because at this point I'm just kind of tired of looking at them. I'm kind of getting tired of looking at them. I want them to actually do something. They're so tiny. Maybe we should turn them into bonsai chilies. Maybe we'll just keep them in these containers, and they'll just live out their lives in these containers. Who knows? Speaking of bonsai chilies, we've had aphid problems on most things. Had some aphid problems over here. Maybe it's been a little better. Again, I've been neglecting things. I'm just hoping they are not crawling all over. I think it's okay. Yeah, so March the 2nd fish pepper. He is from March the 9th. You can tell it's much better, and this is helping me to gauge when I should be planting these things in the future. But just look at how beautiful that fish pepper is. Man, it looks nice. I actually purchased the containers that these will go in permanently, the bonsai containers. So they will be transplanted soon into their final homes. This is from the 16th. Again, fish pepper. Gorgeous. The leaves of, again, are supposed to look like that. The variegated foliage is normal. And we will also see it transferred to the peppers to some degree. So that's cool. And then also we have this, the only ring of fire that came up, which is a cayenne variety. Apparently a small variety, which is why we got it for the bonsais, because the fruits will be small. Bonsai, fit for bonsais. Probably looking even better than the fish, but that's probably because of the variety, a little bushier. All of them looking amazing, for the most part. The earliest one though, not looking fantastic. Still doing its thing though. But these three, I mean, they are just gorgeous peppers at this point. Also, some of my best. Really loving how the foliage is looking on this one, this middle one, and this one actually. Yeah, shouldn't count it out either. Looks just as good. Move over here to our other beautiful pepper, the one in the running for most beautiful looking pepper with the fish, and that is the Hungarian black hot wax. Oh, my phone is not really liking the I guess the lighting right now. Having a problem focusing on the peppers here. Really not a lot of dark foliage. It's darker than the other peppers, but not crazy other than these lower leaves. It's coming up wonderfully, as always. Again, it's been in this pot as well as the Aleppo longer than most of the other peppers that I got. Some of the first that were transplanted into their, again, final homes like this. So it's had some time. It's been bashed around by the wind, but I think it's kind of corrected itself. You can see it's a little bent, but it's doing decent. Doing really well, actually, in my opinion. Here, the Aleppo doing a little better. Standing up, nice, prominent, thickening trunk. Look at that nice big trunk it's got now. I'd call that a trunk. Branched off. Beautiful leaving. Has been happening for a while. Got a cool leaf there. Should say beautiful flowering that I've been plucking back. Again, one of the better peppers that I've had coming up. Pretty spicy guy too. So I'm going to take a quick break from the peppers to show. Here are all the tomatoes from the 12. Don't mind the ones that are below this. But here first are the ones that are still in their containers, obviously. I can show. The other side here is the Roma Margalobe in the middle, Amish paste on the end there. So we got a couple Margalobe that would be nice to get out of there still. And we will be able to do that soon. We'll have some more containers to do that soonish. Black Crim Beefsteak Cherokee Purple. There's a decent Cherokee Purple there that we'd still maybe like to get out. And two quite new looking tomatoes as well. So those will be some to get out of there in the near future. And then we have this container, which I haven't really gotten any out of, which needs to be done ASAP because they look fantastic. They're going to get root bound soon if they're not already. Chadwick's Napa grapes and the super sweet hybrids, all little ones, little cherries. So I really would like to get those out soon. Here we have, I'm not going to go through, but these are all the other ones that were taken out of there. And it's really looking like a plant nursery up in this joint now, isn't it? We have all different types, of course, all different varieties taken out. Those here on the right were taken out first, and then like a week or maybe not quite a week later, I did all these other ones. Soon I'll have those Gen 2 cayenne peppers out, and I'll have a couple more containers to be able to use. Really what I'm waiting on for the other ones. And some of these may even be going in the ground soon, who knows. These would probably be first, of course, because they were in there longer. And finally, have our latest of the second round of our hydroponic peppers, our Hungarian hot wax, yellow hot wax. Still, again, not doing a whole lot of anything. I'm sorry for the poor camera, but yeah, not a lot happening. Must be the light. Has to be the light. I really like to see some flowering soon on these guys because they've been in here for a while. Here, the earliest of the four, the Anaheim chili. Again, structurally, it looks like it's coming up nicely. The leaves were really annoying. They were like real curly, curved around. Actually, not as bad now. That's probably a good sign. But still not seeing much flowering, if any. And that's really what we're waiting on. It's not huge. Should probably, it doesn't need fertilized. They did get them recently, so get it recently, that is. The later of the two poblanos here. And again, the leaves, I mean, it's taking them a bit. It's taking them a bit, but it's there. The bit of new leafing. That is. Same on this one. It's there, but it's yeah. Still no flowers. I really would like to see the flowers. This is the best of them, though, I would say. The best of the four here. Again, getting hard to tell because the camera doesn't... It's probably also just hard for it to pick up leaves for some reason. Especially in this lighting. But yeah. Looking okay. Definitely looking better than it was with all this new growth. I'm sure we'll see some flowers soon. I have hope for them still. I have a lot of hope for them still. I mean, they're certainly not dead. We saw what these used to look like. If you watched any of the early videos, you know where these old peppers came from, what they came from. I mean, it's amazing. All right, and over here, our little oregano pot first. Slowly but surely, little seedlings are coming up. Hopefully they'll start picking up soon. Decent on water. It gets a decent amount of sun. It could maybe even move to a different spot sometime. Right next to it, of course, as you can probably tell, the tricumber and dill pot. With the dill just spilling out. This one actually you can see working its way back up toward the sun. So that's interesting. This one, still hanging sideways. It's actually has a lot of shoots doing this kind of thing. This one, I guess, not too bad here. It bent a little bit whenever it fell, and then it kind of went this way. This one, even worse, though. But I think it mended itself because it happened quite a while ago. This one I just took off. I got the wrong one, but it's okay. Not like you need to always take the one from the bottom. So that'll be the next one we take, of course, here. And I'll leave just this these top pieces. I don't know. I just really don't know what to do about it. Maybe I should look it up. That would help. What to do about the lengthening, how long this thing's getting. It's not supposed to be like this. There's no way. No plant should grow like this. But it is very interesting. That's for sure. To the cucumbers, 2 of the cucumbers. We don't have 3 cucumbers in the tricumber pot yet, but we will. Both of them that are in here, though, doing decent. This older and smaller one doing its thing still, but I don't know, I guess about as good as it was. It has several flowers all the time, usually. I actually missed a couple this week. I missed a couple female flowers there, unfortunately. But whatever, I think, no, not that leaf, but these two, which are, they're decent sized. They're almost the size that we saw probably the newer cucumber leaves were last week. Were probably about that size. Now those are the old cucumber's leaves as it starts reaching itself up toward the sun again. And right about there. Is that the top of it, I guess? I suppose so. But this one, you can tell how great it's doing now. The newer of the two cucumbers. That's a big cucumber leaf. I mean, they get much bigger than that, of course, but compared to the ones we've seen so far growing here, there really is no comparison. It is by far the biggest cucumber leaves we've seen. And I think I said 2 weeks ago, maybe it was last week, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I said this thing's gonna, I think, easily outgrow this black trellis. We really, really need to find a new trellis for it already. It's actually kind of taken off in this past week, I think. I mean, it's been doing really well, but it really took off this past week. So yeah, really no cucumbers to speak of yet, but hey, we're still trying, still, I guess, learning something, I suppose. Still have to master the tricumber pot. Potted plants are much different than just throwing seeds or something in the ground and letting it go, especially if you have decent soil, and that's just going to happen. Like I've kind of feel like I've been having luck outside, but planting in pots is totally different. And I'm realizing that more and more as I plant outside and as I learn in general. Here we'll go quickly down here to the easily the best banana pepper. I think, not that it doesn't have, I don't think it has any pest problems currently. Not that it's immune to any pest issues or any other disease or whatnot. I mean, it is just out here on the porch. Gets a decent bit of sun. I think I'm going to start moving it a little more, getting it some even better spots. But really, it's a decent looking pepper. Again, whenever I say this, I'm usually talking relative to the ones that I've been doing, not really in general. But yeah, so relative to my peppers, this is probably one of the best. Maintained most of its leaves. That's definitely a bonus. Hasn't really started much of the leaf nodes, the new branching. It's definitely started its canopy here. So we've had multiple nice flower buds. Pulled all of them off, I think. There's, yeah, as I smash my hand into the pepper, there are flowers probably in those, between those leaves. Yes, there are, but I'll of course let those go a bit. But yeah, really, it's taken off too. So the last flowers we took off were like, what, these, I guess? Been right in there. And I mean, already it's just said, all right, we'll just throw out more leaves then, make ourselves bigger. So yeah, looking really good. Can't forget the peppermint pot. Not doing anything at all, unfortunately. St. Francis, pray for us. Oh, Assisi, that is. Our marigold there. Coming up. Definitely coming up. Getting a little long. Now we'll do this jalapeno here first. Probably the most lackluster of the three first round of the hydroponics. I'm not seeing any flowering yet. Actually, I need to check my garden log. I've actually been keeping much better track of when I'm fertilizing and transplanting and doing those sorts of things. So yeah, should definitely check that out. But I'm not, these should probably almost be up for fertilization again. It's possible. Not doing a whole lot. I don't see any flowers on either of these. So that's a little unfortunate. These were the last ones to have fruit, of course. They didn't have much. We only got one off of one of these and two off of the other. So yeah, they didn't do great. They're obviously doing fine. Looking much better. This is all nice new green growth at the top, of course. So And just hoping something more happens. It's new-ish growth, because it's really not that new. Maybe it's not new at all, now that I think about it. Got our little cayenne of the 3 cayenne, the tri-yen pot, if you will. Look at that nice, lovely cayenne coming up now. Having a lot of luck with these cayenne. And I didn't pluck that flower down here. So yeah, it's pollinated. And pretty sure coming up pretty quick there. I think that's it. You can see it already. Oh yeah. Pretty good. Pretty good. So it did not take very long for that. I'll move to the second largest currently, which was the one that had the most fruit of all of our peppers so far, actually, probably. Definitely the most from the cayennes. This and the singular jalapeno, probably pretty close together. I did pluck one of the flowers, I believe, or I let it go and it's just not quite big enough yet. It does have a couple toward the top here. It's looking really nice after cutting it back the whole way, just to this stump. Had no leaves at all. Brought it outside maybe a week after I did that. I can't remember how long after. Not very long. Mostly because of lighting issues. Not because it wasn't getting enough. I planned on keeping this one and the other fabric bag here, both of these inside, before I realized how much better they would grow just having them out here on the porch like this. But then that all changed whenever I broke the tightening mechanism to the 4-prong grow light I was using on these. But finally, this biggest, which is like the middle child of the cayennes here. Not much happening on this other branch. Definitely something happening along this base here, but the best part, of course, is happening just over here on the end, just like the other cayenne did. It's very strange. I don't know. Maybe there is something to. I do have to try this at some point. The topping of the peppers early on in their life. Maybe next year we'll attempt that, but I hear it's really not worth it, especially if you live in a colder climate where you have a shorter growing season or only one growing season instead of having, like, being able to grow all year, which is me. So you don't really want to set them back at all. You want to get the most out of them you can. So yeah, got our 2 here. Of course, we've been growing these indoors and then brought them out. And then 2 nice sized cayenne. That one of them we may eat live if it takes, which it probably will, if they are ready by the time we hit 50 subs. Instead of posting the video I have, I can always snag one of these fellers right off the branch. I was gonna call it a vine, but it's not a vine. But yeah, there's all the other little cayenne too. Hello. It's something. So yeah, that's working out. I don't know what's up with the cayenne wanting to fruit everything on like one branch, but it's probably, again, just me, as I usually say. Here, the granddaddy of all the peppers, basically. These are all the oldest ones, other than that banana pepper down there. But this is the biggest of all of them. From the beginning of their lives, it has always been the biggest, and that's why it has its own pot. And of course, it's jalapenos, so figured that'd be nice, having given a little preference to the jalapeno, just because that's what I'm used to. You know what? It was outside for a while, but I moved it back in here because we had some not great weather. Wanted to make sure all of our about 10 or 11 fertilized flowers / growing jalapenos, you can see one at least there, Some of these you'll see, like this branch has a bunch of them, 3 or so on the end. You wanted to bring it in, get it out of those crazy winds and rains. Actually, it was the wind that got me, because this long branch here, oh, real raw as I snag onto the other one. This long branch, it actually has 1 and 2 and another nice size one, 3 at least jalapenos, if not more, was like bent upward quite badly because of the wind and because of how long it is. So, and also because I broke the string. The string broke. I don't know what happened. So it's not actually connected to its stake anymore. Maybe I should just reconnect it to the stake. That would be a good idea too. I got like a full pollination rate here going on the flowers, and the flower there. We've had tons of them, especially compared to the first time. Even though it fruited pretty well the first time around inside, this is like twice as much, maybe, about, perhaps. And one more flower there. Obviously more flowers, just not quite as far along as that one. Maybe at least one more on each branch. And of course the pepper is only going to go as far as it can, and it's potted. It's had a probably a really stressful life slash pampered life. It's hard to say. You have to watch the other vlogs to know what I mean, and just realize that while I tried pampering it, I'm a complete noob at gardening, and so that's where the stress part comes in. But yeah, still have quite a bit of jalapenos. We might actually be up to a dozen now, growing currently on the plant. Definitely other flowers, so more to come. Looking good. All right, so to this seed starting stuff, I did consider keeping these peppers outside, like the 12th tomatoes from the 12th of May. But they're peppers, so I figured I'd keep them. They're also kind of damp, so yeah, whatever. Got our Jimmy Nardellos. I know it's getting kind of dark. Jimmy Nardellos, our cherry bombs, and our pepperoncinis, all from Burpee. Getting a bit long, but looking quite nice. They're basically outside all the time now. But again, our weather hasn't been very suitable for any peppers. So just dealing with that. Got our last of the pepper brand experiment there. Sustainable Sprout, Serena Seed, Rebel Garden, Serena Seed, Sustainable Sprout, and Nature's Edge pepper brands from Amazon. You can see the jalapenos in the back, cayenne in the middle, habanero in the front there. Strange that only 2 jalapeno came up, I think. But we'll take a closer look at those when they get a little bigger. Hopefully, actually, these will be ready to be going bigger things soon. And we do have, which are also outside a lot of the time. I'm just going to bring them in here for the night. Our tomatoes from the 23rd. Mostly cherries. Another cutworm. I thought it was one of these tomatoes that he got. Maybe I'm just not seeing it. I did just stick the tomato right back in the spot. Maybe you can see it at some point here. Might be that one. I thought it was a Chadwick. It is that one, I think, on the end here. I did a decent job, but there must be the stump right there. I cut it pretty low. I just chucked the Chadwick right back in the hole, right back next to it. We'll see what happens. That's what I did. Same thing I did with the peppers that got caught in the back. Other than that, these are looking nice. Plums and grapes actually starting to come up pretty decently, I'd say. Again, all the tomatoes, honestly, they're starting to take off now. Guess again, it has something to do with maybe warmer nights, maybe just better weather, warmer weather in general, and tomatoes can handle a little more dampness, I think, than the peppers can. And lastly, luckily we have a ton of other Chadwicks coming up, so losing one to a cutworm, that was probably the best thing I could have gotten. We have a ton of the Chadwick cherries, so yeah, we're good. Still really would like to figure out how to take care of them. Now I don't have their date with me, but I believe these Serrano are from the 6th, or from the 1st, which we haven't done yet. But this is the beginning of the 1st. So 3 Nature's Edge. We only had 2 types, or 2 brands of the Serrano here. So 3 Nature's Edge, 3 Sustainable Sprout. 2 of each came up. All of them are looking decent. This one was a little bit of a late bloomer, but it's okay. It's looking okay still. I mean, it's a little frazzled, but it's doing its thing. Nature's Edge one. As you may have seen in the previous episode when we did a deep assessment of what the peppers from the Pepper Brand Experiment proper were looking like, Sustainable Sprout was coming up on top almost all the time. I'd say they definitely came in first, just by our, should be more like at the blooming stage assessment is more like just our transplanting stage assessment, just before that happened. But yeah, the Sustainable Sprout, we're definitely doing better. They're looking a bit more decent in this case, but really in this case, I'm just looking to have some extra Serrano peppers. Yeah, now to the 6th one proper in the seed starting. Done with tomatoes. Honestly, I think I'm gonna probably get more types of tomatoes and plant a lot more tomatoes next season. I wasn't too sure at the beginning of this one if I was going to do them, so I did get a bit of a late start. I also lost all the ones that I did in the beginning in April, I believe it was, maybe beginning to mid-April, because I had really bad seed starting mix apparently, or something, I don't know. I lost basically everything that I used with that seed starting mix. So we would have a bunch of stuff actually that would either be transplanted or look well overdue for a transplant, but we don't, because I lost all of it. Peppers, tomatoes, some other things I can't remember at this point. But anyway, yeah, tomatoes or peppers. Yeah, peppers from the 6th, June the 1st, that is. These are basically everything we had other than the three whatever you want to call it, musketeers, the jalapenos, cayenne, and habanero. These are basically all the other ones we've had for a bit. Planting a lot more of them. Pepperoncinis, we just got those, and the other 2 burpee types that we saw earlier. Poblanos in Anaheim, don't have many of those. Have 3 poblanos now coming up to Anaheim still. All of the pepperoncinis have, I think, 100% germination rate on our pepperoncini seeds that we planted. Here we got our yellow and black Hungarians. Got our cherry bombs. Yellow, Hungarian yellows coming up really nice. Hot wax there. Even the Hungarian black. So this one I thought failed in the end here. Not so sure anymore. Look at you can see the end, but it actually has that leaf too. So yeah, interesting. And obviously just gonna let it go. Nothing better to do with it, right? So yeah, 3 cherry bombs, not bad. Gonna have plenty of those. And finally, our hottest, 3 of each of these. There's 4 in here, 4 types. Aleppo, 3 of those all came up. 3 more Serrano, that's nice. Could have actually foregone the Serrano, perhaps, I guess, maybe not, and then done just 4 of each of the 3, since we have those other Serrano we just saw. Anyway, yeah, the Henkel Hots looking nice, all 3, and also the Pekin, all of them coming up. We have no Henkel Hots, no Pekin yet, so that is really nice to see. We also have no Serrano yet, so we do have a lot more of those currently growing. But these looking really nice, coming up really nice. I think from like maybe the 4th, maybe early March into definitely by April, I think is a good time to start these indoors in my area. At least that was probably the point this season for me. So that's probably what I'm gonna maybe shoot for next season. With most, I don't know, I'll probably end up doing some peppers earlier just because I won't be able to help it. And hopefully we'll actually be overwintering / just growing some peppers the entire time from now until, through the winter indoors. We'll see what happens. Pepperhead. And from the 7th now, we did do this tray of basil, since that was another thing we lost to that bad seed starting mix. This one looking fantastic. I should really try to pluck these doubled up ones and try to transplant them into something. I do actually have one more seed starting tray open, so I could maybe do like another tray that's empty and just transplant them into a different tray. Why not? I don't know. We'll see. But they look awesome. I have no Thai basil yet other than these. I have several of the others. The Genovese and the large leaf Italian. But, of course, to me, even more exciting, we will probably, I want to do more basils as well. Basil and maybe dill, things like that. Going to focus on a couple specific herbs that I like, especially basil. Next year, I'm talking. Here are peppers now from the 7th. Should show these second, I guess, but it doesn't matter. Red habaneros are chocolate habaneros, and the ghost in the middle. Red habaneros coming up nicely. Actually, that ghost is coming up fast. It did just come up yesterday, I believe. Yeah, and yeah, looking decent. Still no chocolate habaneros. Not super happy about that. Not happy at all, in fact, about that. It's not something to be happy about. The habaneros, chocolate habaneros not coming up. But in the other habanero tray, the more of the normal ones, because why not? I don't have as many as I have the jalapenos and the cayenne. Also, the yellow and the white that we just got. For all 4 of the yellow, only 2 of the white. I thought there was more than that, but not giving up on the other 2, of course. They may grow a little bit slower. We still have ones from the first coming up, so, you know. And more habaneros from actually the 11th, I guess. I wanted to do these the same day, but I didn't. I have 1 more yellow, 2 white, luckily, coming up, because we had 4 yellow in the other one, only 2 whites, so we're actually getting pretty close. 5 yellow, 4 whites total. The red are just doing amazing. I guess I planted another seed that didn't look like a great seed. Sometimes if they don't look like they're going to work out, I'd put them in there. And it did. So I might have to separate those, or one of those, try to get one of those out soon. And again, still no chocolate habaneros. Why? Yeah, but these are doing decent, actually. The yogurt trays this time, the yogurt containers this time. So these will definitely be another coming back maybe next year or 2. The only thing about them is that they get stiffer here at the top where the lip is, curves around there. So when you're trying to get them out, that's where you get the most resistance, right at that top part. So it's kind of annoying for that. But other than that, the size seems to be pretty nice. And we can't forget, of course, the final batch from Pepper Joe's. Didn't plant any of my free seeds from Pepper Joe's, but thanks anyway for those. I'll get to them, maybe 1 or 2 of them soon. I have to do them soon if I want to do anything with them this season, but I could do them over winter. Anyway, got our Shishitos, our Cubanelles, and our Santa Fe Grandes. Shishitos did really nice. These mild type, like these in the pepperoncinis, and both of these other ones, Santa Fe Grandes, are a little different. I'd say they get they're a bit spicier than the others. Cubanelles, quite mild as well. Great germination rate on the really mild ones. All of them came up. This Santa Fe Grande, newly sprouted, but hey, it's cool. Sometimes that means they got a big old root system, right? Maybe, I don't know. What do I know? Next batch, got our Big Jim Big Gem from that's New Mexico State pepper. Got our Thais. We have Christian Thais, were our free peppers from Pepper Joe's. Again, thank you very much. And last, we have our Charleston Hot from South Carolina, right? That's what Charleston is, right? Hope I didn't just make a fool of myself. Anyway, Big Jim, New Mex Big Jim, looking good. Thai 2 a 2. I mean 2 4. Okay, for now. I mean, again, now we're getting into some real spice here. The big Jims, decent spicy. But the Thai and the Charlestons, those can get up to 100,000, which is the low end of a habanero, I believe. So yeah, we're talking all nearly. I think you can classify habanero as a super hot. I know like pepperheads wouldn't, but I think a normal person, at least the way they grow, I'm gonna go like off of the way they're growing. The habaneros plus grow a little slower, and maybe things that are even like Thai and Charleston hot level here grow a bit slower. But these are annuums. That's another reason I say habanero plus, because habaneros are chinense, and I don't think I've tried to look. I don't know if I know of any peppers that are chinense and are less spicy than a habanero at the 100,000 to 350,000 mark. So, speaking of super hots, here are ají limons, our only Bactum species of pepper this year. So we have one at least. I do want to try more out next year. I was thinking about doing it next year until I did one more batch of seed buy-in. So I ended up getting one, and those were a nice heat range to get my pepper challenge. Trying to do a 3 different 10 pepper challenges, going from a mild pepper challenge, hot pepper challenge, and an extreme pepper challenge, 10 peppers each. So that's why they're called 10 pepper challenges. You needed something around this range, and that just happened to work out. Anywho, got those. Quite different. Those are actually less spicy than the Thai and the Charleston hot. But our hottest now, our 2 hottest, are our 7-pot Jonahs and our Naga Vipers. Again, the ají limons coming up nicely, not quite as hot as the others. I had an issue with a lot of like hard pieces right at the top of that. It was a big pain, but dealt with it. All right, that's why it's a little lower is all. At some point we may see a little bit of a difference in their leaves and things like that from all the other peppers we grow, which are all annuums up to this point, other than the habaneros, which are the only things that have gone to any other things that have gone to any substantial point that you could tell any difference. I think maybe from the pepper brand experiment you could maybe tell the difference in some of the habaneros. Anywho, yeah, no Jonahs or Vipers coming up yet. Again, this is from the 15th, not too old. And those are our hottest, and like I said, those seem to take a little longer to germinate. They usually have even like a couple weeks longer on their maturation cycle, you'd say, from the annuums. Oh, and of course we have this one last starter here. 2 more Jonahs, 2 more Vipers. Neither of those coming up. None of those, I should say, coming up. That's all right. Give them some time. All right, there you have it. Garden Vlog, episode 16 in the books. I hope you enjoyed. Please like if you did. Please comment if you have any questions or comments or anything. And definitely be sure to subscribe or follow if you're on Rumble. I will be back next week, maybe even Thursday. Hopefully by the next vlog, you will see most of this stuff in the ground. Everything that's going in the ground will be in the ground if it's ready to go in. Let's hope that happens. But for now, I'm Randy. This is Academia Christi. Peace.